Does that Fed Darius have you down in the dunks? Me too. That's why I listen to Youth and Vigor, a podcast hosted by the Vigor 4, meant to assist you in creating a positive mental and a positive KDA. We cover a wide array of topics each week with new guests. So sit down, grab yourself some water, and tune in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Youth and Vigor, the podcast about League of Legends and a few other things. Today we have a special guest joining us on our show today, MossyElder. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited for today's interview because I think that so far, Mossy, you have something very unique about what you do. And I would love to give you a chance to kind of unpack that a little bit. I'm
looking forward to sharing that.
Yeah, it's good. And honestly, thank you so much for joining me. I know that you're tuning in over from the West Coast, correct?
Yep. The West Coast here, 9 a.m., bright and early.
Bright and early. That's what I like to hear. So, Mossy, you have to tell me, what made you want to start into streaming?
Well, for me, streaming was always a way to connect with people. I haven't done it for too long. I think I've done it casually on and off for a couple of years, but quarantine actually really pushed me into doing it consistently on a regular schedule. But it's really, for me, a way to connect with my friends. In my life, I've gone through two major moves. So when I was in grade 5, I moved from British Columbia to Manitoba. And then when I was 23 years old, I moved back from Manitoba to British Columbia. So I've always used video games as a way to connect with my friends because majority of my friend group from most of my life is over in Manitoba, while I'm over here a couple of provinces away in BC here. So quite honestly, video games have been the best way to connect with them. And so it kind of started out as me making silly YouTube videos of games that we all play together just as a way to stay in their lives more, if that makes sense. I always fly back and visit them and do different stuff like that. But during quarantine, I've realized that Twitch is really a great way to connect with like-minded people. And since we're all kind of in this bubble together, why not bring the value that I think I have out there into the world and try and spread some positivity and some Ivern gameplay, let's say.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, I think that a lot of people have been in a place in their lives recently where things have been upset. The balance has been upset. Their pace, the way that they do things has changed. Quarantine has kind of forced us, honestly, into different directions. And to be completely transparent, I don't think that some of it is bad when it comes to the changes that quarantining has brought.
Oh, definitely not. If anything, it's given an excuse for gamers to want to play more and connect online more, and it's bringing people who would maybe never touch a video game or never want to be on the internet. It's giving them an excuse to give it a try and kind of see what magic it holds, right?
For sure. Yeah.
The other side of it is, like, I've played League of Legends for 8 years approximately, and eventually you got to kind of ask yourself, like, is that time you're investing worth it into the game? And like, because I'm 27 years old now, and so I got to ask myself those kind of questions. But what I've actually found is by making a YouTube channel and making a Twitch channel, I can take my passion for the game and I can give it some additional value. And what I mean by that is I can learn video editing while I'm at it. I can learn presentation skills while I'm at it. I can learn networking skills, et cetera, et cetera. And I can use all of the research and analytic skills that I have from university and really apply them to creative learning and optimal gameplay in the game and making the best content I possibly can. And so all of those have kind of been a fusion of my personal professional life and my my personal, like, gaming hobby life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And honestly, one of the things that I encourage people to do is to kind of push into that realm because a lot of people play this game, and actually we're almost like twins in terms of how long we've been playing. Um, so for me, I think I'm closer to 7 years because I think I started in 2013 when I found out that one of my buddies was going to the same college as me, and I'd known about League for a long, long time, and I knew that they played it, and I knew that they obsessed over the game, but I'd been avoiding it like the plague because I didn't have time to play the game. I was really involved in sports and extracurricular activities, and basically when I heard that we were going to the same school, I was like, you know what, now's the time, and so I started learning. But yeah, I can actually relate to you on that level about games being something that bring us together, right? A lot of us play the game because we're competitive and we enjoy that, but a lot of us also dive back into the game because of the people, the friends that we play with, and the relationships that we can build over time through that, you know?
Yeah, well, I think Riot does a really good job of making the grind feel rewarding with their ranked system and their just all the data that they bring and all the stats. You can always go and show your friend, I have these stats on this character. Look how well I'm doing in ranked, etc., etc. And that really brings people into wanting to play the game solo. But I think people really stick with the game and stay with the game once they've found that collective group of friends that maybe they met through the game or maybe they have from real life, and they're playing flex fives or they're playing ranked fives. Back in the day it was ranked fives. That was my favorite of all time. We had our little ranked squad and we always felt like a team, and we'd go to battle on the Rift, right? So I think it's a combo of wanting to be social but also wanting to personally grow within the game and get better, because it's broadcasted so regularly, all the pros and all the really good streamers and top-notch players. There's always like something to strive for, I guess.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that well, first of all, and this might be a hot take to the majority of the League of Legends community, so buckle up. Chat, you too. I think that Riot does a really good job. I think that they get a bad rep because people have, their opinions, and they're entitled to that. And some people can really be quite malicious about how they attack Riot in their decisions that they make, but I don't envy the position that Riot's in. They have a collective player base of millions of players, right? And I mean, imagine trying to appease millions of people.
Well, the most negative people are always the loudest. And the other thing I would say to that is the spotlight burns brightest when you're at the top, right? So, like, they've obviously been doing something right for their game to be successful. Not even just successful, the number one played game for like the last 10 years. I think they've done a great job extending the length of the game and doing something unprecedented in that way. And yeah, it's really fun to badmouth them and say they're doing something wrong if you don't like the changes. But they're trying to balance the game. You know how hard it would be to balance between pro players and like your Iron 5 scrubs? That's the part that I don't like. I cannot fathom how people can criticize them as much as they do.
Right.
They're basically trying to do the impossible, right? They're trying to thread the needle.
Mm-hmm.
How insanely difficult would that be?
It would almost make sense as if they had like once you get up to a certain level, the balance of the game changes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
But
They
you
should
don't
make a
unlock that.
league pro, like the pro edition.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you're Diamond 5 or something, you have to go at a whole new client.
Honestly, and who knows? Maybe that's gonna be the next thing that we hear. But you heard it here first, folks. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The amount of work that they put into the game state is insane. It's absolutely insane, and I can't blame them. It's a very complicated game, and all of the different variables that make it unique. Multiply that by each player who is looking to exploit certain things. But I think the one thing that, and you touched on this earlier, is that people want to be doing this. And going back to what we were talking about with having people and playing this game socially, it's about the relationships, and it's not just playing a game together. It's actually about taking time in your life and your routine to invest into those relationships with other people. Maybe it's like routinely at what do they call it, degen hours, but it's more than just playing the game. It's honestly it's building and inviting people into that inner circle of, you know, maybe your favorite hobby.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm. So we kind of went off on a little rabbit trail. I want to bring us back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier.
That
So
was a good trail. That was a good trail.
honestly, I loved it. I would not mind going down that trail again. Um, you do something very unique, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on my podcast, is because I don't know if people recognize what it is that you do, but what gave you the idea to donate a tree for every subscription that you get on your channel?
Well, I mean, it kind of comes from my interpretation of Ivern the character, and kind of the message I'm trying to send through my Twitch channel, right? Like when you think about Ivern as a character, he's really powerful, but he also really loves nature. Like he's gonna nurture that small forest animal, but he's gonna mess you up with Rabadon's death cap if you cross him, right? He's gonna throw you into oblivion. So I mean, I think the character is very nuanced in that way, and it's a commentary really on the times we're living in. He was a really bad guy in his previous life, but the message really is he can reform, he can change, and he can grow in a positive light. Um, Anyone can show respect, anyone can love nature, and it's up to us as stewards of the planet to really protect the planet in a time when global climate change is such a hot button issue. We don't know what's going to happen in 100 years. So for me, planting the tree from the subscribers, people who come to the channel, they're coming to the channel in hopes of finding a streamer that's positive and that cares about the planet, right? And so any type of monetary support they can give me, I want to take a small piece of that. I mean, it's $1 to plant a tree through TeamTrees, which is who I use, and so I get about, I don't know what it is, it's 250 per sub, so I send 40% of that back to the environment, and all that money I get from Twitch, I just keep on my PayPal account, and that's the money I use right back to planting the trees. So I think a really specific person kind of searches out Ivern content, and it's that kind of person who's seeking like-minded stewards of the planet, who wants to feel connected and grow and feel united. And so I want our Twitch community to really feel united in the fact that, you know, we've planted a mini forest here just by hanging out and having a good time on Twitch. And anytime that we can make Twitch kind of more than just gaming, I think we're doing something really special.
Wow, that's awesome. Spoken like a true Ivern one trick. You know, I think you're absolutely right, and honestly, I got I got chills listening to you say that that the people in your community, they can rally around something that's bigger than themselves, and they have helped to plant a small forest. Like, that's cool. That's what I think takes streaming or video games or content creation to the next level, is the moment that it becomes tangible. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Think about all the characters in League of Legends, right? Almost every single one of them is about death and destruction and supremacy and victory and just and winning, right? But Ivern's about a lot more than that. Ivern's not just about killing. He's also about like he's actually not about killing at all. Like you don't even kill the jungle creeps. You let them go, right? So he's the only character in the game that's focused more on growth and focused more on the forest as opposed to just like straight up killing the opponent. And so that's the message of the Twitch channel, and that's I think planting a tree for every sub fits perfectly into that message. And so when I had the idea, I was like, we can definitely do this. This is possible, right?
Yeah. Well, I gotta ask you, how many trees, if you could ballpark it, you may have a direct number on this, you may not. How many trees have you planted since you started streaming or you've had the subscriber button?
I actually do have an actual number because I haven't been doing this for very long, and I don't get that many subs regularly. So I've only planted 10 so far, but we're looking to keep growing, of course. When I first started it, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to monetarily fund the trees if we got too many. So I had them tied to sub goals, where it was like once I hit 10 subs, I would plant 10 trees. That was the idea. But now I've actually changed it to anytime there's a sub or a resub, I'm just making a note of it, and I'm doing kind of like I'm going to start doing like a batch tree planting is the idea. So far we've only done 10, but we're obviously for every sub I'm keeping note of them, and I think once a month probably we'll just put through a donation to. I use TeamTrees just because it's most recognizable on YouTube and Twitch, thanks to Mr.Beast, our good friend over there. So yeah, I think we'll start doing some batch donations.
Do you have like a certain code or something for you when you go to how do you say it, like order some trees?
Well, it's more of like a charity donation, right? So TeamTrees works with the National Arbor Foundation, I believe they're called, in the United States. So it is in US dollars, which is kind of sad for me as a Canadian. There's a couple of Canadian charities that I'm looking at as well. Maybe we can switch it over once we get a little bit more recognition. But TeamTrees makes it really easy to search your name. So what you do is you just donate, and you donate in batches, and then you can search. I can search MossyElder, and it'll bring up every single one of my donations that I've done. And so I can always screenshot that or add them up or whatever if I want to have that sort of visual.
Do you have a promo code or anything like that? Can people donate trees on your behalf?
I haven't set anything like that up, but I should look into that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Let me know when you do that, and I will. I'm gonna donate 50 trees.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. That's big time.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm really excited about what you do, and I think that it's super unique and beneficial. That's why I brought you onto the podcast, is because I think that you're doing something really cool with your influence. Not everyone has the vision, has the goal in mind to make a positive impact with their influence. And if you've been around my channel, you know that's what I'm all about.
I do know that, and that's one of the reasons I respect you so much. What you're doing in the Twitch community, I'm just so touched right now. That like 50 trees, that's insane. Thank you so much for your generosity. It's going to go a long way. So, yeah, that's just so exciting. I'm lost for words.
Well, you don't have to be lost for words. But I'm really excited because, like, honestly, it doesn't take much to be someone who streams. But I think the difference between a streamer and someone who streams is having a goal in mind, and it's all about the impact. And I think it's really cool that you have like literally a one-to-one connection with subscribers. They give you a sub, you plant a tree, and I love that. So we're gonna get some trees planted, and I'm gonna help you grow that forest. Do you know where these trees are planted?
They're planted all over the world. I mean, TeamTrees is doing like 20 million trees over the next 10 years or something like that. So they pick places that there's been deforestation or forest fires or different things like that. I don't know specifically where our trees are going to go. Like they kind of go into the batch and then they go all over the world. Um, but that's why I was actually looking into some Canadian tree charities, because then you can know they're going to be used in Canada. So that I was looking to switch over to do that, and eventually I will do that, but not quite yet.
Mossy, you know what you need to do? if there's a way to track this down, you need to find out where some of your batches of trees have gone and go to them and like have a
Fly
community
to
meet.
them. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I'll look at that. Someone from the audience is saying that they're going to gift you a sub. So that's another tree.
Oh wow, that is another tree. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
I'll keep my eyes peeled for it. We're going to be streaming today Ivern PBE gameplay with all the new items. So come back later, probably 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's maybe a bit late on the East Coast, but yeah, we're going to be streaming later today.
Oh
So
no way.
I'll keep my eyes peeled for that sub and donate the tree.
Yeah. Mossy, imagine in 10 to 20 years later, you go just somewhere in the world and you come across like a patch of trees and there's like a plaque and it says donated by MossyElder, Ivern One
All
Trick
right.
Pony.
That's the new ultimate goal. I'm finding a charity that's going to let me trace all the trees.
Yeah. Why not? Why shouldn't something like that exist?
Exactly. That would be amazing. I don't think it's possible through TeamTrees, but I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for something where it is.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the like organic fair trade coffee and stuff, right? They all got a QR code on them and you can track exactly where your beans come from in your cup of coffee. Why can't I track where my trees are going?
True. Trace the trees.
Trace the trees.
That's right.
I
Start a
like
new
that.
campaign.
All right, trace the trees. It's on.
Yeah. So, where do you see yourself, Mossy, in the next 2 to 5 years? Is it streaming on Twitch? Is it IRL streams? Is it YouTube?
Yeah, so that's kind of twofold. I think conceptually, I see myself, I just want to have a platform that really shares the message. Like toxicity really sells on Twitch and YouTube, but that's the fundamental problem with the internet for me. Like we glorify abuse and violent spectacles and Tyler One rage fits and witch hunts and cancel culture, all that kind of stuff. But I don't agree with it, right? I think we should be focusing on accomplishments, recognizing selflessness, and building people up. So I want to have a platform that's big and powerful enough to be able to share that message and act both as like a sanctuary for people who are struggling and an advocate for people who are bettering themselves and growing and pushing themselves, right? So that's the concept side of it. But as far as the actual tangible where the channel's going, ideally in 2 to 5 years, I would like to have 60 to 70% of video game content and then maybe 30 to 40% IRL streams, forest exploring streams, really getting out there and sending out knowledge like for the trees. So one of the ideas I had, for example, would be I'd go to a national park and in the pre-stream lobby it would say we're looking for these trees, we're looking to see if these animals we can find, and this landmark, for example, and then do the IRL stream and have the audience keep their eyes peeled for all of those things that we mentioned that are supposed to be in the park. And then it's kind of like a follow your own adventure kind of game for the audience. It's fun to explore the parks and really appreciate nature in that way. And so that's kind of where I see the channel going in the future. I would love to do more IRL stuff because I mean, we've done a zoo before, but we've never really done like a national park or something. And like, who knows? Maybe one day we do like the Grand Canyon, or one day we do all of these really cool landmarks.
Wow, that's actually such a cool idea, and I think that kind of bridges into the area that not a lot of people are going, content creation. Um, to go into different wildlife parks and maybe like conservations and to be able to take them outside of where they are at in their homes to give them a unique experience like that's got some weight to it.
Well, think about it. Canada has some of the most beautiful parks and nature in the world. Like, I'm from British Columbia. There is absolutely gorgeous environmental parks and waterfalls and all that good stuff right here in my own province. I think a lot of people don't do that kind of stuff because there is a technical challenge behind it. Sometimes you don't have the internet connection you need, or the gear or anything like that. But I think if we can figure out those finer details, there's definitely an opportunity there to share our beautiful country with the world, right?
For sure. And yeah, that's what it should be. And I love that because you said this earlier, but you said something about being a good steward of our planet, right?
Right.
That's so important. Not just not just the consumer mindset, but saying let's take care of what we have. Let's be good stewards with that. Let's try to make it better. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but I heard it all the time when I was growing up. Everywhere you've been should be nicer because you've been there, or something along those lines. Shame on me for not knowing word for word what my parents said.
Right. But leave it better than when you got there, right? Something like that.
Yes, that's the concept.
Well, I think being a steward of the planet is just so important. If we can do these kind of streams in the parks and show people how we're respecting nature as opposed to abusing it, I want that message to be imprinted on the next generation, right? Because they're growing up. I mean, honestly, a lot of the kids I see, even my own nieces and nephews, that they grow up and they don't like care about anything. They don't preserve like I know it's not every kid. I'm generalizing, of course, but like a lot of them, they're really focused on what they're doing, and they're not really concerned about the planet or anything like that. So I want to really share the message, and if I can make those streams kind of as interactive as possible, I think that will go a long way to helping people feel like together we can make a difference. Because for me personally, I know a lot of the time when I'm doing something by myself, I can get trapped in the mindset of, well, I'm just one person, what can I do? I'm just one person, it doesn't matter what I do, right? If I throw this bottle here, it's not going to change the world. Do you know what I mean? But if together we have a collective movement of being stewards of the planet, that's the only way we're going to actually make a difference.
I agree. I 100% agree with that, and I think that people are discouraged by their inability to deliver at a greater capacity than just themselves, and they look at the big term picture and they say, "How can I possibly do that? How can I possibly get there?" But if they are aware of the fact that even one step forward, if it's a small step, is a step in the right direction, eventually, after enough of those steps, you turn around and you look backwards and you see how far you've come and how much closer you are to that goal. And I think that it's the journey of getting to that goal that discourages people from even starting.
Yeah, 100%. The way I look at it is people don't feel like their effort is going to be worth it. Like if if I want to help the world and I want to put a lot of effort into something, but I'm not going to see the tangible benefits of that because it's a big picture issue, well, now that effort is way too much for me to want to put in, and I don't really care anymore. I'm going to go do something else, right? Like that's why nobody goes and cleans up the park, right? Because once they leave, they don't care if the park is clean, for example, right? But I think if we can use our Twitch channel and we can use our IRL streams and our message to just kind of um, how would you call it? To just kind of guide and like bring together everyone's small amount of effort and make it into one big movement, then that's the direction I want to go, right? Because I can like concentrate everyone's small amount of effort, and then that turns into a big amount of effort, and that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, and I think what you're talking about is, it's the difference between being a public figure and an influencer. I could care less about having X amount of people watching my channel, subscribing to my channel, or viewing my content. What I care about is the impact that it makes on the people who do let me influence what they're doing, because like I think that's really important. Not just doing these things for like your own personal benefit, but actually just sharing some better values with the world. Because honestly, like who hasn't been at a place in their lives where they just needed a little bit of guidance, or they needed someone to help them understand a concept that maybe they didn't learn growing up?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to sit here and pretend I'm like a sage of wisdom or anything, but like I'm 27 now. I've been through a lot in my life. I have a lot of those experiences. So, I mean, if there's, people in grade 10, 11, 12, even all the way through university that are tuning in and they feel like they're lost, or they feel like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with my life. My life is hopeless because I'm so confused, or they just don't feel like they have a direction or anything, like I'm always down to talk about it, whether it's on stream or in private. I always make myself available because I feel like my experience can just really help other people. I mean, because I've gone through it before. It's that old thing, right? It's your basketball coach is your best ally on the court because he's done it before. He's done it 100 times. So if I can help people in that way as well, that I'm always available. Like I make myself available through Discord or through whatever, and I always make sure I answer everyone as quickly as I can. It's not always possible, but I want to start the conversation on those topics that are not easy to talk about and are not found everywhere, right? That's
Yes,
why, like, the channel Healthy Gamer GG?
I
Is
do.
that what it's called? I believe that's what it's called. Um, that guy's doing the Lord's work, man. Like his streams are so good. He's a Harvard professor, I believe, and he really tries to tackle mental health issues specifically in the gaming community. And if I can even be a sliver of the value that those streams provide to, I'm sure, hundreds of thousands of people, I got to put in the work to try and do that.
Yeah. Well, I want to point this out, and maybe we can stop by Healthy Gamer GG at some point. I would encourage you guys to check it out. Anything about mental wellness, and honestly, with video games, especially with this past social quarantine, it's of the utmost importance to check that out. Um, if you want to make a difference with other people, you have to make sure that you have your head screwed on straight first. Right. If you want to help
Exactly.
other people, it's just like with the airplanes when the masks fall from the ceiling in an emergency situation, put your mask on and then you can help other people. Right?
Mhm.
But I wanted to comment on something. You said it's not like you're some sage or you have some wisdom or anything like that. I want to say that it's not about having um wisdom. It's about recognizing that if you have something to contribute, that you should contribute. And I mean, with what little experience in life that I have and knowledge of the world, like if I can share my light and my joy and my positivity with other people, if that's all that I have and I give that to other people, it bridges the gap between what is, I think, selfish and selfless. And like I don't have a lot that I can offer because I'm not an experienced streamer. I'm not like a professor. I don't have a doctorate or anything like that, but it's about starting the conversation and recognizing that you're going to give everything that you have. And it's like it's selfless, right? Going back to what you'd said about people don't want to donate or sacrifice because they are afraid that they can't get it to the point where it meets their expectations.
Right.
Um, you have to recognize you can't do it by yourself, but that decision starts with you. And that impact starts with you deciding to give it everything you have.
What I would say to that is, if my passion for trees and for Ivern and for Treebeard and for Maokai and for whatever character, the Deku tree in Zelda, if my passion for all of that can motivate somebody to pick up a bottle next time they're in a park, or donate trees to wherever they need some deforestation help, or go get a job as a tree planter to really make the environment a better place, or try and get plastic out of the ocean, or whatever it is, if I can be that spark that gets the ball rolling and can help in any way, why not? Why would I not want to try and do that, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That is exactly why you are here, is because of this concept of inspiring other people and making them take that first step, helping them to make that first step. And chances are when they do, they're going to realize it's not as hard as they think, because it's not. I mean, literally, and this is super random, and people are going to be like, why were you even doing this? But I mean, I have a park right next to my house. And I love to longboard. I'll just throw on my headphones and go longboarding.
Nice. Longboarding's great.
I kept on riding past trash, and I was like, man, this park looks like garbage right now. And then I was just struck. I was like, wow, I'm actually not helping at all, and I'm just commenting about it. I shouldn't be allowed to say things like that and not have to take an effort. So I went back to my house and grabbed a bag, and I longboarded around, just picking up as much trash as I could that I came across.
That's amazing, and that's the right perspective. Like, do you feel like you changed the world in that moment? Probably not, but you made this sliver of the world that we live in slightly better, and that's the first step, right?
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny, and I was not doing it for this reason, but it felt good. There were 3 specific instances where I crossed paths with other people. They said, thank you for what you're doing. And they seemed like a little surprised, but like also like excited to see someone trying to make it better.
When you do something positive, people notice. And that little action probably inspired those 3 people to at least start thinking about it, right?
That's right. Yeah.
It's contagious. It's honestly contagious. And the bigger we can make the movement of getting people to think about it, the faster it's going to spread.
For sure. You already know that I'm all about empowering positive lifestyle choices and actions and things like that, but
100%.
I think that we can really do a lot to band together to help encourage people, to build into them their character. Character is revealed consistently through time. Consistency over time. So helping them to get to the point where they can help others, like that's the goal. That's when it goes from being an idea that we have or a concept to being a game changer, to something that catches on, to something that goes viral, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm on my personal journey just as much as everyone else is on their personal journey. We started our Twitch channel. Well, I mean, we've been streaming for like, I don't know, maybe 6 months now or something like that, and so we're in infancy stage. We're right at the beginning, and we're trying to push and move and grow every single day. And I'm trying to use the same principles that I do when I'm trying to grow the channel and grow our YouTube, and I'm trying to instill those principles on my viewers, right? So I think when I went to university, I learned so much about self-discipline and about critical thinking, that and I learned, like, I have a marketing degree. I don't know if I said that, but I just learned so much about university is not about getting the skills to do a specific job. It's about getting the skills to kind of learn, like, about life and like about progressing yourself as a person. And so I really think that I'm trying to use those skills I learned and instill them on somebody else, or instill them on other people who maybe haven't had that same experience as me and haven't been able to go to university and haven't been able to go through that personal change. I think university was the number one point in my life where I made a personal change, and I grew as a person. And now every day I'm trying to take baby steps to keep growing and keep learning and keep doing something that matters. Like you can go through your whole life and just go through the motions. It's the same way when you're playing League of Legends, right? If you're not actively trying to learn to get better, you're just going through the motions, you're literally walking on quicksand. You're not going to go anywhere. You're going to be silver 5 forever, right? But if you got to actively put in the critical thinking and the work to grow. That's the principles that I use on my Twitch channel, and that's the principles I try to share with my viewers in hopes of inspiring them to grow themselves.
Yeah. Self-growth is probably one of the most challenging things that we can face. But it's worth it, you know? It's worth putting in
it doesn't
time.
have to be scary, though.
It's
right?
true.
It doesn't have to be a negative thing to think about. Like a lot of people, they think, oh, I'm at this really low point in my life, and I've been here before as well. Like when I was 20, 21, 22, I always would think to myself, oh man, I'm not doing anything. I'm just like a loser. I'm not working on anything, right? And it was a real negative for me. But I think once you can put a stop to those thoughts, and you can say, here's where I am, where do I want to go, and make that 5-year plan and take the baby steps. It's all about just starting to take the baby steps. It doesn't have to be a negative, right? The second you make that plan, it's instantly a positive in your life, and you're going somewhere. You have direction.
Right. Yeah. It's
You got to flip it on its head, right? That's the idea.
for sure. You gotta. It's hard to self motivate, and it's hard to look at the long term goal, right? And we talked about this earlier. It's gonna be discouraging, but that's why we're here. We're here to help you guys along the way, and maybe balance some perspectives with the truth. You know, because who is the harshest critic other than ourselves? You know, we're gonna look at situations from maybe even a worst case scenario sometimes, and honestly, even for myself, I have to check myself, because I can be my own worst critic. But like we need people in our lives who can encourage and motivate us to do more than what we think is possible, and it's not as if it's impossible, but it's just to get us going.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So I just want to say, because we're running out of time here, Mossy, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. I've had a great time talking to you, and I'm gonna donate 50 trees to TeamTrees. Looking for the name MossyElder, and if you want to set something up for like a credit or that, let me know so we can work this out. But you've actually already had a few people gift you subs from the stream. I don't know if you checked that out, but
No way. No, I haven't been looking, but I'm gonna go look right after this. Like, thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing. Hopefully we can. I respect everything that you do on the platform, and what your goals are, and everything like that. How you interact with your viewers is really admirable, and something that I aspire to do. I mean, we can all get a little tilted from time to time at League of Legends, but as long as we keep the mindset as positive as we can, that's really the way to go. I mean, Twitch and YouTube has really been my avenue for personal growth, and hopefully we can together, and wherever we go, hopefully Twitch streamers around the world can inspire people to find their own avenue.
yeah. Well, dude, I just want to say that one step at a time, we're gonna get there, and it's been encouraging.
One step at a time. Yes.
It's been encouraging talking to you and learning more about you, and everyone from the chat. I would love it if you could go check out MossyElder at twitch.tv. He is just someone who is really passionate about what he does, and if you missed it earlier, you're gonna have a chance to catch him live later, right? What time are you live?
Yeah, so I'm going to be live at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 6 p.m. on the East Coast.
All right, 6 p.m. on the East Coast. Maybe we'll catch you over there.
Since Ivern has a basketball skin, we do Baller Weekend, it's called. So I dress up in my Steve Nash jersey, represent the Canadian boy, put on my headband, and we only use the Dunkmaster Ivern skin. So that's always a lot of fun. And today is one of those days. It'll be PBE content today. So No rank grind or anything.
Oh,
More chill. More chill today. More chill today.
that's awesome. Well, I hope that you have a lot of people tune in to watch you ball it up. MossyElder, thanks once again for coming on the podcast. I want to say thank you to our listening audience. Thank you to our Tier 3 subscribers. Be watching out for the Patreon coming up. I'm going to be developing that soon. And also a quick shout out to Phoenix Rising League for helping to sponsor my channel and his content. If you are looking for ways you want to help out as well, feel free to reach out to me in the DMs. You can add me on Discord. You can look for my links. It will be... honestly, I'm going to probably have that in the episode notes down below. You can check that out. But Mossy, thanks again, and hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.